Hi guys,
Hello, good afternoon.
good evening.
Yeah, sorry.
Hello, hello.
Hey, hey.
Let's wait a couple more minutes, and if not, we'll get started, I guess. Today is probably going to be a quick one. Roberto, are you guys going to Argentina or what?
No, not this time.
Okay.
It's very close to me, so maybe I will go, but no, I haven't planned yet.
For us, I guess it's just too late to organize that, but yeah.
Yeah.
I think we should.
What is the reason recently a lot of things happening in Argentina?
Cardano is going to write a constitution for governance in Cardano, and that's basically the thing.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the place where the discussion is going to be. Everyone's going to gather in there and define that. Yeah, it's a lot going on right now.
Yeah.
So yeah, we could expect a low or not so high participants on the community members, I guess. And this applies until the end of the year, I guess. But hopefully on 2025, we can look forward to grow the community and establish things in a more long term.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, there's only us. So I guess that we are just going to get started. Today, as I said, there's not going to be much. We are going to make it really simple. We are going to have the regular updates we have. We are also going to jump into the GitHub discussions to see if there's anything new that is worth mentioning, and also give the community chance to raise any topic or issue they want to be discussing. So yeah, as usual, I will start with the antitrust and code of conduct that I please ask everyone to read and adhere to it and comply with it. This is the antitrust policy, and this is the code of conduct, which again, I 100% recommend everyone to read it and comply with it. Then, as I just said, we are going to have a very short meeting today. We are going to have quick updates. We are going to review the GitHub discussions as we usually do. And then the last one is just for the community and maintainers to raise topics, bring new discussions onto the plate, and so on. And the last section that we usually do if there's any questions or doubts. But I do not expect, like seeing the people in the room, I do not expect that we are going to have much. So yeah, cool stuff. That makes me really happy. So one thing that we identified while working on the workshop is that still after so much time that we've been building open source code, we still require a GitHub token, and most of us are so used to already have this token that we were not really thinking on what happens when somebody outside of our ecosystem tries to approach Identus. So yeah, it like as you see, things are easier to manage now. The Prism node has been made open. And secondly, some of us started to discuss internally on moving the Docker images to Docker Hub. So basically what we want and also we've been discussing, probably Yuri, if you want, you can jump in and give your opinion about it. But for the Cloud Agent and some other projects, we think that we are going to keep GitHub Docker Hub, not Docker Hub, Docker registry. And we are going to keep that for the RC versions. So release candidates will still require a token, but anything that is already a release is going to be open.
Yes, it's true. Currently, we have a CI/CD process where we create a Docker image for each revision in the main, for each commit hash. And we use this image in different tests in order to ensure that it has acceptable quality. And I propose to keep it as it is because it's possible to clean up the outdated Docker images in GitHub packages. But as far as I know, it's impossible to do in Docker Hub. So we will publish official releases in Docker Hub for everyone to fetch it without any tokens, and we can still rely on GitHub packages.
You can delete image from Docker Hub also.
Okay, but I afraid idea to pollute Docker Hub with our revisions.
Yes.
Javi, over to you.
Sorry, I was muted. I was talking to the air. So yeah, I wanted to say that I agree with Yuri on not trying to pollute the Docker Hub images and just have the versions that we feel comfortable with published there. And I don't personally see it as very, very bad that people that need an additional level of accuracy in versions that they require to use a GitHub token. So anyone looking to contribute to our existing infrastructure or projects can either use the versions that are live in Docker Hub or will require to use a token, which is not the end of the world anyway. So yeah, thank you, Yuri, for covering that. The next topic is going to be around our intentions to next year for sure. We are going to make a lot more workshops that are going to be very specific on what are the things that are explained in this workshop. As the previous one that you guys saw for SDGWT, we are planning to probably do another one for how do I configure the Prism node to write the Prism deeds on chain, and how do I configure that, how do I allocate funds for that address or that wallet, and all these kind of things, with the only objective of making everything easier to use and easier to configure. Then I think that we've seen recently a spike in the amount of deeds that have been published. And I would only expect that after doing a workshop like this one, that this is going to contribute positively to the amount of deeds that are issued, even if it's in the testnet, right? Our responsibility here needs to be on making sure that it is easier to configure, easier to transition from testnet to mainnet. And then there is a lot of things that we are going to require also on the SDK side to be able to issue from the SDK, which is going to be probably a very big task for next year or at the end of this year, where we are going to bring issuance capabilities to our SDKs. So yeah, that's about the updates. Do you guys have any questions around probably the second topic? I think the first one is already clear, but
Yeah, so I actually tested this yesterday, the latest agent with writing on testnet, because recently testnet changed, right, on the latest hard fork for the second chunk fork, basically. So it was, it was stopped working a few days ago. I had to update and try it, and it's working. There's a few caveats, like restoring the wallet. I think the Cardano wallet UI interface it's like pre-alpha. It's really, it just shows something, but it doesn't really work. I have to install Icarus. That's the one that I find easier to use. But I guess for the workshop, I don't know if you guys plan to just do it via curl or the API interface, or just installing Icarus. which is, I feel like that's a lot easier to get the wallet going with that UI interface. But I actually got it working, and after that, it was fine, and the node was working fine. The only thing that I always hate is both the Cardano wallet and Cardano DB Sync. They both need a full node, and I mean, depending how you set it up, I think you can make that single full node that both of these things talk to each other. So right now they are separated because they're effectively different projects. But if we want to make everything simpler for new users, I feel like we should create like a Docker container that have both of them, or add the wallet and the DB Sync and share the full node between them, to make it easier on resources and I guess for overall setup. In my case, we set up VPN tunnels because there are different machines that have the agent and the nodes. So I have to, it's a little different for me, but I guess for testing purposes and all that, everything in a single container should be preferable.
Well, we are not going to put everything into a single Docker container, but instead what we are aiming to is to build a single Docker Compose file.
Right, yes. That's what I mean. A single compose file with the final idea is that the full node can be shared between the Cardano wallet and DB Sync, instead of having, to start different containers for those two things and having a full node twice, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah, great.
Um,
And regarding the DITs that got written on chain, there were like 10,000 per day or more. I don't know where are
It's Socias,
coming
man.
from.
I'm sure it's the Socias team, man. It's like for sure.
Socias?
Yeah,
Okay.
I bet.
But it was like too much. And it had no metadata, no services. And it's just public keys. It's just DITs. So I don't know where those are coming from. I mean, curious to see where that traffic comes from.
It would be nice, and also I think that we are happy to have this problem.
Oh yeah. Of course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's a good thing to have. Yeah, exactly.
Yes, totally.
Cool. So thanks for that. Of course, our idea with the Prism Node workshop is going to be to just as the other workshop, right? How long it took me? 1 hour to present it. So I want to make sure that after that hour, anyone that goes to that workshop has easy like not maybe the most advanced understanding, but basic understanding on how to deploy and use the Prism node to write the operations on the testnet network and on the mainnet network, how to allocate funds to the wallet and all that kind of things. Of course, everything that you are going to see, Roberto, from now on is going to be like one of our main objectives is to make things easier to configure and easier to use. So of course, what you said is very important for us, like not having a single Docker Compose file instead of multiple, and then also taking out the services that we don't really need to make things easier to use, right?
Yeah.
Because if not, by default, most people are going to replicate exactly what they see in the Docker Compose file, even though some of the services may not be like literally needed. And I think Fabio did a great job past week on making things easier to deploy and easier to configure. I think, Fabio, you already published that in the Identus repository, right? Am I wrong?
Yes, so it's on the Identus, the main one.
Yep.
And if Roberto wants to add those, the node and the other component that
The
he
wallet?
was talking about, yes. So my suggestion would be to create, just copy paste that Docker file, Docker Compose file, and let's create a new one just aside of that one with those components, because I prefer to have like multiple Docker Compose files instead of having a script that builds the Docker Compose file. So let's just duplicate that Docker Compose file and put those components in there. So in this, just make a pull request with the new components and you can put it here.
Yeah, perfect.
Cool.
We are also
Cool.
planning that Fabio gave me the idea that we should probably put the workshops in here, and I think it's a great idea. So you will land in here, and this is a lot. In my opinion, this is like too generic. This is not like if I landed here without knowing anything about the project, this is not like inviting me
Yeah.
really to start something, right? So
Yeah, I was gonna say exactly that. That even from last workshop, we got a few people that we couldn't run the thing because they didn't know the exact, Docker version to use and stuff like that. So we need some sort of like quick start guide, but actually like step by step that you can see from the repo. That's the best thing. That for anyone new, they see the repo and they just follow along those instructions in that README. I feel that that's the best way to approach this.
So you mean to include the workshops as markdown files, basically?
Yeah, I because every time I start a new project or get into a new framework or whatever, even like installing Node or whatever, or Yarn, they tell you what to run in that README. And so you get going pretty quickly. And those are simpler steps, right? But it's the same idea. It's like you land into the GitHub repository of the project, and right there you should have at least like the first couple of things to run and get it like something going.
Yes.
Yeah. A
No,
lot of projects do that, and we can do it.
we agree, and I also think that we should abuse a little bit more, at least, on using images. But yeah, my idea is to try and make this less generic. Like nobody cares to have the list of repositories here, but they would prefer maybe to have these are the workshops that you can run, and here's how you can run them, and make it more direct, straight to the point.
Yeah, I agree.
While I think that this kind of content is also interesting, but I think what most of you are looking for is like what I'm proposing now, right? Cool. So that's about that. Then about projects, I don't think there's much change. I was off past week, and I am planning this week to start creating the tasks. One of the tasks is this one that Fabi already created, and I am the person responsible to create the corresponding subtasks on each repository. So this one is basically to allow. This is the first task that we have to make the issuer capabilities on the SDK. So we need a Cardano connector for the SDK. What does that mean? This means that our SDK should be able to speak the CAP30, which is how most wallets are interconnected. To reply you to this message, I'm not sure where, like, I think that we lost some information in the conversation, but we are not planning to add a Chrome extension for the SDK. What we are saying is that our SDK should speak with most Chrome extensions that become wallets through the CIP30. And yeah, of course, our plan is to just make things a lot easier to configure and a lot easier to use. And one of the ways that we can do that is by talking to a wallet directly to create that transaction that contains the metadata and the DIT document, and then store that operation on chain, which is the first step to make SDKs as issuer, right? On the verification side, we are a little bit stronger, but on the issuance side, we are still lacking some functionality. This, of course, is just the initial step. We are going to require a little bit of logic. As you know, the Cloud Agent has many API calls that you can run to create a credential request and all these kind of things. And of course, if you close the Cloud Agent and you start it again, you still can request that credential request that you created 2 days ago, and you can see in what state it currently is. This is something that we will need to implement on our side on the SDKs, but this is just the first ticket. So after that clarification, do you have any other topic or thing that you want to discuss, Roberto?
No, I was just replying because from the previous comment, I think the question Fabio made to the Lace team was how can we connect from from a Chrome extension to your Chrome extension. And I feel like that's the thing that is not easily achievable because of the sandbox state of the extensions. But the SDK that runs in the browser, not in an extension, should be able to connect directly to the API that the Lace extension provides.
Yeah.
And that's our entry point, basically, right? Yeah. And then they take care of the rest. As long as we pass what's needed for the Lace wallet to sign a transaction, then the Lace wallet takes over of the UI of paying, signing and all that. And I feel like that's the first step. And I like the idea of making a connector because we create a common interface and then we can support multiple wallets.
Exactly. Yeah.
No, I totally agree. I'm very eager to get to see that moving and testing and all that.
Yeah.
So just to clarify that, you also mentioned that you want to call the Lace API directly. What do you mean by that?
Oh, well, from our SDK, basically, from the connector, not directly from the SDK, but through the connector, yeah.
But when you mentioned the Lace API, do you mention the wallet or their backend API?
Their wallet.
Okay.
The wallet, because that's what we need to put the DRAM chain, right? Yeah, we need to pass the payload.
Because when I read it, I was thinking that you wanted to call the backend API directly, passing through the Lace without passing to the Chrome extension. But when I was mentioning the Chrome extension, it's just like was a proof of concept. Yeah, I know that there are those sandboxes that that we need to bypass, but the idea is to have a proof of concept. It wasn't to add anything to the SDKs, or more just to have a show that this can be done and this is the way that can be done. Because we don't want to control the wallet. Let's say the wallet with the money with ADA, but I imagine that someone wants to build an application that would be another wallet, but for the identity. So those two wallets, the Lace or any other wallet that exists there that has ADA and your identity wallet should communicate together. So they should. What I imagined in the future that would be very useful is that you have two Chrome extensions. They are able to talk with each other, and then you go to a website and they ask for your identity, and then it goes to your identity wallet, and then if you want to update something, it asks the Cardano wallet, and something like that would be useful.
Yeah,
so that's why I was mentioning Chrome extension.
Fabio,
I see.
Is it not the Chrome extension has security thing, right? Which I remember that from one Chrome extension to another Chrome extension, I think they block normally by default.
Yes, but there are ways that you can do to communicate with the both. There are securities that you need to enable, and they are able to communicate. Chrome extensions are able to communicate between each other on the background. It's I need to read more about it, but I think it's possible.
Because I remember when we were using Chrome extension earlier, there was a thing. If you enable that, then you can't publish on the Chrome store because they will reject that. If I remember
they have
correctly.
a special API for it, so you need to write in some specific way that you open like an interface that other extensions can communicate with.
Okay, we can explore that. Yeah, I just thought of mentioning it.
I think it's not that hard to have that.
Okay, and in any case, the binding will be done through the connector or through the SDK, which runs on the browser. So it's going to be like a middle point, because ultimately the identity wallet might not know or care actually what payment wallet it's being used. Could be Lace, could be another one. So that's why the connector sits in between. And kind of takes that interface between them or bind those two together if they need to. Because going directly, I mean, it could be possible, but I feel it would be more,
It's not
it will
even a
be harder.
binding. It's just an interface that another, you just pass control off to another piece of software.
I
Right.
personally see it a little bit different. So I think the issuer platform or the issuer must behave like a DApp. And then I am not sure. I'm not saying no. I'm just saying I'm not sure yet. It makes sense to have identity and DeFi in different wallets.
I agree.
In my opinion, you would have a simple, like, identity is like a DApp, right? So in order to interact with that DApp, you either need a holder wallet because what you need is a holder role. And then you would go to a website that belongs to the issuer to request whatever, and you would receive the credential in your wallet. In the same way, you could start your issue directly from the browser. You would connect to the wallet, you would be able to send the credentials, create the deeds, write the deeds on chain, and all these kind of things.
Yeah,
I
you're
agree.
right. Because I was seeing from my perspective, but you're right. It should be adapt. Like it should be independent. It could be a Chrome extension, the identity wallet. Yeah.
I agree, but it's inevitable that somebody will combine the two.
Yes.
But I think that it should be built to be separate and then leave it up to the market to create like a one product that contains both, but internally they would still handle it separately.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yes,
Yuri?
I agree with this because if you use Google or Apple wallet, it's not Web3 wallet, but anyway, you can add your credit cards and you also can export your flight tickets or any other tickets always in the wallet. So it's absolutely fine to have currency and identity wallets merged together.
Android is working on a lot of this stuff too to make it easy to import
and it's really
credentials and search for them and things like that. There's a lot of infrastructure that Google's building for that.
Yeah, I agree. And this is what pisses me off of the web technologies, man, is that it is so hard. Like we've been so many years like trying to build WebKit, Chrome, and all these kind of frameworks. Each one was built with the intention of replacing all others, and we are still 10 years later having 3 or 4 different frameworks that do exactly the same thing. But still, I agree that Google is doing the right thing and opening the API to be used in anywhere. So yeah, I just saying that I would like to see the same kind of features being in other browsers. But I understand also Google has different interests than Apple has with Safari and all these kind of things. So it's just the market. But on our side, I think our main objective should be to again, I know I'm repeating myself a lot, but to make it easier to use for our closest users. Because I do not see that 2025 is going to be the year where people put their crypto assets in an Apple wallet. That's not going to happen next year. Maybe Apple shuts my mouth, but I doubt honestly that that's going to happen, which means that we basically need to continue solving this problem and making it easier to use.
Yeah, and that takes me to another rabbit hole, which trying to use like a hardware wallet for identity, but that's for next year maybe.
Well,
but,
Gonzalo experimented with that. Not with a hardware wallet, but he implemented Apollo using an HSM on, if I'm not mistaken, on Azure.
Yep.
Okay.
Nice.
That's
That's
Yeah, it's super
maybe
interesting.
1 year and a half ago for you to
Yeah,
plan.
yeah.
Gonzalo did that like the first week.
So, well, not the first week, but Apollo is prepared for that. You can basically replace the protocol of Apollo implementation by HSM one.
Mm. Okay. Oh, yeah.
There is a problem with this logic is that HSM is different, right? Because an HSM you can request through an API, sign me this, sign me that other, and this can be automated in background, right? But in
Yeah,
each of the hardware wallet, you need the user interaction and user approval. Like physically, the user needs to click a button and then the request
Yeah,
will go through, right?
but for enterprise, that other, API interface, it's really, really useful or critical even. Like they handle their keys and and we can offer this identity layer without having to manage the keys, or risk the keys to be in the agent itself in that node, basically.
I agree.
So that's really a super critical feature. So I didn't know that you guys already were working on it, or at least in an experiment. So
Don't interpret Mao. we worked on it in the past, right? I don't
Okay.
even know if I still have the code somewhere. I guess not.
But it's possible, like the SDK is already implemented in a way that you can write
Yes.
like an Apollo extension or replacement to do that.
Yeah. Apollo is an interface, right? So the implementation of that interface can be whatever you want. And that interface is already syncable. So it counts with the possibility that you want to have syncable calls to get a key or something like that, or the information of a key, or sign with a key, right?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
Yeah.
Like to be honest, the first 2 months that I was in this project, I was building the integration for hardware wallets for a Cardano wallet that some of you know. So I can basically do that possible in 1 week. Like it's relatively easy. I'm not going to integrate with all the hardware wallets, but at least Ledger and Trezor are very simple. I know their API, I know how to use them. Like it's not going to be our problem. And I would envision that in a future, you could have an instance of your cloud agent, but then you maybe want to check some things on the DApp. So you would go to a website, you would log in through the SIP30, you would sign the required things using a hardware wallet or whatever you need to do. And you would be able to maybe not do everything that is right operations. This is going to take a little bit more time. But at least we should have a place where anyone that has been issuing deeds on chain can sign up, or not sign up, but can access through SIP30 and do read operations, check stuff, and things like that, and not have to go to a database, not have to go by SSH to check the machine or nothing like that. But yeah, that's more on our 2025 roadmap.
Yeah.
We've also been discussing internally with the company on what is it that we are planning to work on next year. And we seem to have some alignment and support from IOE for these things, which is basically, okay, you guys know what is right to do. I think that if at this point of the year we were not doing the right thing, we would have been told. So everything that I'm getting is just support, and you guys are doing the right thing. Continue doing what you're doing. So yeah,
Cool.
let's continue. Let's continue.
Yeah.
Let's bring the issuance capabilities to the SDK. Let's try to build something that is easier to consume by anyone, and let's continue working on these kind of things. And probably next year, there's going to be a lot of noise around our integration with Midnight, that at some point I hope that we succeed on that. Our integration with real Cardano wallets. But on top of using or integrating with Cardano wallets, we need to make sure that that these credentials can be used with some not common sense, but that you are not just storing credentials on your wallet for nothing, that you can actually use them to access a service or to, I don't know, to prove.
Yeah, well, the use case we're all chasing, like,
yes,
what's the killer use case for identity, right? So, but yeah, but I mean, I'm super on board, especially for next year on getting all these features,
because
help whatever we can.
Roberto, on C-Sign has a wallet bundle, right?
Yeah.
And are you planning to keep that like that?
Well, for the time being, yes, but ideally it should be its own thing, right? It should be like a native app that you can use and sign things there, access the website, do everything that you do with us. But the thing is, from our perspective, we need the wallet, and there's no, identity wallet out there that we can say, okay, this is the one that we should use for the wallet, because there's nobody has one that yet, right? that right. So we have to implement our own and bundle it into the website. And kind of our thing is also making like actually hiding what it's under the hood, meaning like, oh, it's just they don't need to think they have a wallet. They just do and they use it. The final user. So it's always the like it's Web3 under the hood, but it looks like a Web2 experience. So, and the use case for us, besides being able to sign, put agreements or the proof of the agreements on chain and then verify that, we're also trying to envision the use case where, okay, so how do you verify when that it's needed, how that experience, and all that requires understanding wallets. And it's still, for us, we're still working on it. We're still solving that problem basically. But I'm like being able to self-issue a credential is huge for different use cases. Could be for us as well. And then being able, for example, to use different wallets. And that's the other thing, like, okay, you may have the cloud agent for one thing, but you also may have like a hardware wallet for high value transactions that you need, right? Which is a common use case on different things. But it all comes down to who is the wallet, right? Where is that piece of code that everyone interface with? And that's nobody have solved that yet. And we may, start thinking, okay, let's just build a very good wallet, but will deviate us a little bit from our current objective of making the signature or agreement signature experience first. So that's where we at right now. It's a chicken and egg problem, and we don't have the answer yet.
But our biggest handicap from my perspective is how, like, for you guys you guys have a use case. You guys have a need of having a wallet and you build it yourself. But how do we attract people like Lace or people like, I don't know, Game Changer Wallet, the one I know best? How do we incentivize them implementing identity if they cannot use identity anywhere else in Cardano?
Right.
This is a problem.
That is the reason why we need a more, how can I say, wallet node that connects with Cardano directly with the other nodes.
That's exactly what this task is about, Marcelo.
Well, I think also it's what we talked about earlier. Like those people are very focused on, well, specifically Cardano, right? ADA wallets and financial, terms, right? And I don't think they've wrapped, I'm not saying specific teams, but I don't think in general people have wrapped their minds around digital identity, and that's an entire industry in itself. And the digital identity industry isn't concerned with financial wallets. right? They're two different ways of thinking about things, and I think the market will combine them, but it's just it's just apples and oranges. Like people aren't, they're just in two different mind states, right? So I think we need sort of examples of like patterns of how you can embed an identity infrastructure in anything. In these cases, though, there'll be financial wallets. And how do you build the bridges to use them? But ultimately, they are separate things, and I don't think that that's clearly understood by a lot of people. When Roberto and I go to the identity conferences, like there's very little crypto, you know, cryptocurrency stuff going on there, right? Obviously, there's a blockchain involved somewhere to store your DIDs, but everyone's talking about building the latest identity wallets. And obviously I think the killer apps are going to be the application layer on the like EU wallets and things like that. And how do you interface with that? So building those interfaces and then just showing patterns, you know? So yeah, I don't know. Maybe it would be interesting to, I mean, you're familiar with those wallet people, but maybe it'd be interesting to sort of have a summit with them or something and hear how they think about things, and or we could cross present or something.
Yuri?
Yes, guys, I just wanted to announce one more stuff and clarify one question. So just because of conscious of time, I will drop a link. There is a Distributed Identity Foundation hackathon that is going to happen in
Yuri,
December 12th.
let me put it on screen.
Yeah, you can open the link. To ensure the interoperability between the mediators and DIDs. And we are considering to participate in this hackathon. If you would like to join or have some free time to participate in this as well, please contact Fabio. Fabio is going to lead this initiative. So we just want to figure out if our mediator is good enough, and also see other mediators and how everything it works with a wider ecosystem. So that's one. And secondly, it's going to be December. And Javi, do you think that it makes sense to schedule just a single meeting in December, or have some pause to allow people vacations and something important that we're going to discuss? Because it's going to be vacation time, and
No vacation.
a lot of people join. Just think about this, and probably we can announce this and make an announcement in the Discord. Okay.
It's no vacation, Yuri. Sorry.
It's not about me.
Obviously.
It doesn't work that way.
You guys know me already enough that I was kidding with that. So yeah, I am very in favor. I love hackathons, man. So I would be very much in favor of us joining, coming together, and winning the hackathon.
Yeah, I'm sure about winning. Probably it's possible to win, but yep, it would be nice to participate from my point of view.
Yeah, I think we have good knowledge. We could definitely have a chance to win.
This is just for mediator?
For DITCOM in general, I think, Gonzalo.
With two mediators and protocols. There is a list of protocols that will be tested, and probably list of DIDs.
Is there any specific protocol that, from Identus' perspective, that we could need or implement?
I mean, out-of-band messages, we have a couple of out-of-band things. We recently launched out-of-band issuance and out-of-band verification.
As far as I know, it's around Aries protocols.
Did you say Aries? Did you say Aries? Is that what you said?
Yes.
Yes, Aries protocol.
Doesn't Aries use DIDCOM v1?
Yes.
But this
Yes,
is
but
v2,
they have a
right?
plan to refactor it and support v2, but nobody knows when it's going to happen.
The goal is facilitate scenarios such as sending a message to one app, receiving an app and decrypting the content. This is something that we can do tomorrow, like right now.
If it's similar to the last hackathon that they did, it was about trying the DITCOM protocols, mainly the ones they find on the mediator. So pickup message, enroll in the mediator, and what was the other one very used? Getting that gets the protocols that it's supported. Basically, it's just trying to have some type of interoperability between different applications developing by different people. I think that is the goal. And I think the most difficult thing that they had last time is that the deeds that they were not using the same deed methods, and the deed methods that were using the same were not according to the specs. So no one was interoperable. But this time, I think they are much better, and maybe by participating, we can see what are the status of the other people and to check if we are interoperable between. I think it's great to have this type of hackathons. It's more like to have a feeling of the interoperability status than anything else, I think.
Cool. So yeah, count with me, man. I'm joining for sure.
Yeah.
Okay, so probably I was wrong. It's not about areas protocols or their remotes, because I don't see it anymore. But there is a reference to DITCOM v2 specification. So probably some capabilities will be tested here, including probably a message report problem and message reporting and other advanced features. I don't know, but
I can join as well.
Aren't there some still unsupported like experimental extensions, like not very useful, but like attachments and things? Is that true, or am I?
Attachment we use, right? Normally in all the protocols, we are using the attachment.
Yeah, you can. Yes, you can use it. We use it.
And so what you are saying that they're not standard, or like what do you mean by exactly?
I might be misremembering. I thought that there were some edges of the spec that were not directly included in Identus. Is that true, Roberto?
Well, Identus doesn't implement all the protocols.
Yeah, so I'm just throwing it out there. Like I'm just throwing it out there. Are there parts of the protocol that are yet to be implemented? Again, I don't have a use case for them, but like that's work that could be done, right? I don't know.
We have basic message and then the internal ones for connecting, like that's the other thing. We have to rename those become PURI that refer Atala.
Oh yeah, that's right. There's a few things. I don't want to change the subject, but there's a few things I wanted to make sure we covered today. That's one thing we should. Oh, I don't know if we didn't make an issue for that. In the URIs, for the DITCOM spec, they're still pointing to atalaprism.io. I know they're just like the URIs, but they're that's one thing. But anyway, that's a small one. But maybe we create an issue for that just to clean it up.
I guess we can move these protocols to the root Identus repo and provide a GitHub URL. What do you think, guys?
Do we have to support 302s from the old one, or is that domain even active?
We'll figure it out. We just need to create a ticket for this.
Okay. So that was one thing. Another thing, Gonzalo, I saw that you worked on the Swift SDK. Thank you. I'll wait for a release on that. And then the last thing is, can we talk about the mediator issue that we're seeing? I know we made a bug, but I'm just so for greater visibility, and it's maybe of interest. Roberto, maybe you can explain like what we're seeing, because it's kind of a blocker on our particular situation. It was a surprise, so just so everyone understands what's going on.
It's not that issue. It's on the mediator,
right?
I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's
It's
about
on the
the
mediator.
web app or about the
So Safari, the latest Safari, is timing. It's requesting options, pre-flight. It's timeout, that one. So and the mediator, the middleware of the mediator doesn't recognize the core's headers, and it's saying no, I don't have a route for this and timing out. And normally it's fine. The browsers say, oh, okay, they ignore it, but for some reason the latest Safari 18 freaks out and say, oh, it doesn't have it, then invalidates course and then stops polling. Like it cannot, I get like 4 messages from the mediator, connect to it, and then get like one thing. As soon as time's out, then it's gone forever. So we cannot keep the connection of Safari going.
Yeah, I still didn't have time to check this. I know that those timeouts logs is because of one reason, but I'm not sure if it's related with this problem. Maybe it's also related with this. But I need to investigate why Safari is not working and in the others is working, right? The same behavior.
Yeah. Yes, I don't know. I don't know why also. It could
I
be that
will try
the
to
latest
test on
Safari.
Safari and check.
Yeah,
if,
but it
what
has to be
happening.
the Safari 18. That's
18?
on the latest. Yeah.
Yeah, previous Safaris worked fine. We only realized that when we were building something and it wasn't working for me, and it was totally working for Roberto. And it wasn't until Roberto like tried on like a Sequoia machine with 18 that he was able to replicate what I was seeing consistently.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll try to investigate.
thanks.
Yep.
That's really
it.
awesome. I was thinking that it was going to be short, but we pretty much filled in the whole meeting. So thank you guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the other about the web pages, I know what it is. It's easy to fix.
Oh, okay, great. Yeah,
I
I confirmed that the mediator works. It's just the web page that doesn't work when there's a subdirectory.
Yeah, I have one thing hard coded in there. I need to figure out a new way to do that logic. But yeah, I was aware of that.
Okay, cool.
Awesome. Anything
Thank
else
you very much.
that is worth mentioning in this call? That we have not mentioned, of course. I think that we did a great job today. So, yeah. Cool. So as usual, well, I forgot to include the thank you community banner that we included past week. But also trust me, like for us seeing metrics of things improving and having numbers that prove that we are doing the right thing is something the company is really interested in us having and being transparent on those. So again, it is extremely valuable for us to see small contributions, big contributions, discussions, and all that, because the numbers are a perfect way of, like, I don't really want anyone to just add comments to improve the numbers. Okay, to clarify. But I really want to give chance to everyone that wants to be involved, that they have a space where they can propose things, that they can vote for things, and we can build this together as we always wanted, but now it's going to happen. That's the difference. So again, thank you everyone for contributing. I will publicly thank also Socios team. They did a huge PR where they are basically going to try and bring a more efficient backup system. And we are still discussing with them because they only use they only use the TypeScript SDK version, but for us it is very important to keep interoperability between the 3 SDKs. So meaning that I could at any point in time decide to not use the browser anymore and move to a Swift SDK. And you should be able to restore exactly the same backup. So the implications go beyond just one single platform. That's why this thing is taking a little bit more time. But yeah, we are on track and these guys are extremely ambitious. So yeah. Thank you, everyone.
Cool.
Thank you,
Cool.
Javi.
Thank you,
Thank
guys.
you.
Ciao, ciao. Have a great day.
Thank
You
you.
too.
See you guys.
Bye bye. Bye bye.